To discuss, let's bring in Thane Rosenbaum, Middle East analyst. Thane, welcome. You know, Iran's warnings to Israel, this is not something of a surprise. It happens almost every other day. But let's backtrack a little and try to figure out how could Israel really be part or assist this U.S.-led naval force operating in the Persian Gulf to defend trade?
Well, certainly in providing intelligence information, and clearly this is their shipping zone. This is their region, and in theory, they could be participating in the clearing out the Strait of Hormuz. You know, these are shipping lanes, essentially, and the idea is to keep them safe for oil tankers and other ships passing through. So that's one. But you're right. I mean, you know, it was just last month on July 4th, Tal, that Iran warned Israel that if the United States attacks Iran, that Israel will be annihilated in 30 minutes. That was the words they used, annihilated in 30 minutes. This week, today, it's disastrous consequences. Remember, President Ahmadinejad years ago wiped Israel off the map.
Same rhetoric.
Same rhetoric. I mean, the Muslim Shiite clerics threatening Israel is essentially a spectator sport in Iran. And so this shouldn't be surprising.
You say Shia, and interesting that Israel's foreign minister, Israel Katz, he announced that Israel will be assisting the U.S.-led naval force. He did so after he came back from his visit to the United Arab Emirates. Every day we're seeing signs that ties between Israel and Arab states are better than ever. 5 or 10 years ago, this would have been unheard of. Who deserves the credit?
Tal, I think that that's an insight that has been missed, that it was immediately after Kushner's visit to these other Gulf states. I think it's intentional.
And Israel Katz, Israel's foreign minister.
And Israel's foreign minister was participating in that as well. And one of the first things he says in coming back is if the United States is going to be involved in any naval operation to protect the other Gulf states and shipping lanes, Israel is going to be a part of it. And remember, this is a different world, and maybe it is President Trump who's responsible for this. Remember during the Operation Desert Storm, Tal, I don't even think you were born in those days. But in Desert Storm in 1991, Israel there was no Iron Dome, and Iraq, not Iran, Iraq was firing Scud missiles, and Israelis were wearing gas masks.
I was wearing them.
Okay, so what I'm saying, and Israel showed incredible restraint because President George Bush said to them, "Look, we don't want to gin up regional tensions. Look at a new world today. Israel is saying we want to help the United States protect the Strait of Hormuz."
Now, Thane, I want to ask you about this maritime force. Unlike the UK, France and Germany have refused to join this mission to protect oil tankers in the Gulf. Now, in regards to France specifically, we've seen some back and forth between President Trump and President Macron of France. Here's what President Trump tweeted. Let's show it. He said, Iran is in serious financial trouble. They want desperately to talk to the United States, but are given mixed signals from all those purporting to represent us, including President Macron of France. Now, France is saying that it needs no permission from the United States to discuss ways of easing the tensions with Iran and the U.S. So what could have Macron told Iran that really angered the president this way?
Well, it might have been nothing specific. Remember, President Trump doesn't play well with others, right? We've seen photo ops with other European leaders in which he pushes people out of the way. He doesn't share the ball. So what's happening here, it may be that he's saying, I don't want anyone speaking for me because this is my deal with Iran. I have decertified the Iran deal. And when it comes to the sanctions and the ongoing threats, I want to be in the very center of it. Now, he may...
or potential talks.
Or potential talks. Macron might have also said that I can help ease the tensions. And you know what? I don't think President Trump wants to ease the tension.
All right. On that note, Thane Rosenbaum, thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
always.
Tal.
Eric?